Yes, your eyes aren't deceiving you. The 6950 XT can keep up with the RTX 4090 in Warzone 2. This is the RX 6950 XT, one of the best value GPUs at the moment. AMD is known to perform extremely well in Warzone 2, and given how good of a value this last gen king is, I decided to pin it up against the RTX 4090 within Warzone 2. Now, I'm perfectly sure that the beginning of the video sparked some interest on how the 6950 XT was able to keep up with the 4090 in Warzone. Let me show you the data results that I've collected. Jumping into a private match, you'll notice right off the bat that something is going against what I just said. The 4090 is indeed actually faster than the 6950 XT. What you'll notice though is that there's no CPU bottlenecks in sight. It being a private match, it's not going to be an issue obviously, meaning that the 4090 can fully stretch its legs, same with the 6950 XT. For multiplayer results, this is still extremely impressive, and overall the 6950 XT was only 18% slower under no CPU bottlenecks. Both the 6950 XT and the 4090 were ran at the same identical settings, using a custom configuration file that I've done for Call of Duty specifically to improve the performance. Most of it just contains of running everything low settings with a couple things that you can't actually change in game, and you can only change with the configuration file. If you guys are interested in trying out this configuration file, it will be in the link down in the description below. Now let's also take a look at the exact settings these graphics cards used. And you guessed it, both are overclocked near their limit. Mind you, my 4090 is not a good overclocking card at all, while the 6950 XT overclocked quite well, but overall that shouldn't have a big effect on the final results. Before we get into the juicy data, let's start with Ashika Island, and as you can see, the results are quite strong for both graphics cards. Funnily enough, the performance difference is yet again the same. The 6950 XT is only 18% slower than the RTX 4090. If you believe that the 6950 XT has been performing incredibly good until now, you wait till we get to the Al-Mazrah testing. I decided to run a game of Plunder, and let's just say I was very surprised to say the least. But to be entirely fair, this shouldn't be surprising, because Al-Mazrah is CPU bottlenecked, and even with a 7950X3D on the edge of the map, which is a best case scenario to remove any CPU bottlenecks, it is still apparent that both these GPUs were actually slightly CPU bottlenecked, even the 6950 XT. Given this video isn't made just to shit on the RTX 4090, you will notice that the RTX 4090 actually uses far less power to achieve the same frame rate as the 6950 XT. But what's impressive is that indeed both GPUs are hitting pretty much the same frame rate, but the RTX 4090 is just using 25% less GPU usage to achieve that frame rate. So while the RTX 4090 may indeed be slightly faster in Ashika Island and in multiplayer, within Battle Royale it's pretty much the same performance due to CPU bottlenecks. You might have noticed that the 6950 XT does indeed have lower 1% lows. Now there is a chance that's rather due to the server than the GPU, but it is something to keep in mind. This is a screenshot of the final results. I wanted to have a slightly deeper analysis of exactly what's happening and how the 6950 XT is unironically keeping up. You'll notice that the GPU usage is significantly higher on it, and not only that, the GPU wattage is significantly higher, and as a result of the GPU temperature. That means that the 6950 XT is being used to its fullest potential, or at least nearly being used to its fullest potential. Funny story, I remember how the 13700K used to be enough to fully power 6950 XT, but that's not the case anymore, as even a 7950 X3D that is fully overclocked cannot do that quite clearly. Now let's take a look at the 4090. As you can see, the GPU usage is abysmal. Over the seasons, they've decreased the performance so much that now the 4090 gets about 15 to 20% less GPU usage within Al-Mazrah than when I first got this 7950 X3D. And what's funny is that I remember that I used to get this much GPU usage on my 5800 X3D in Season 1. Essentially, in Al-Mazrah specifically, the CPU performance has been hit so hard over the seasons that a 4090 and a 6950 XT will perform the same even on the fastest CPU available. I did want to mention that the reason the difference is so small between them is because I am running low settings, therefore, hitting the CPU harder. If you ran Ultra, the 4090 would outright be faster yet again. By how much? Probably also 18%. Ashika Island and multiplayer were perfect examples of what GPU on GPU difference actually is, where no CPU bottleneck is involved, And in this game, it's about 18% between a 6950 XT and a 4090. I did just quickly want to mention that this won't be the case in many other games. There might be a few, but pretty much in every other game that I am aware of, the 4090 is just outright significantly faster than the 6950 XT. The exception is indeed Call of Duty. In the background, you would have noticed the Rainbow Six benchmark running, and as you can see, the 4090 is outclassing the 6950 XT in every single way, and the final results speak for themselves. But to be entirely honest with you guys, when the graphics card that we're comparing the 6950 XT to cost nearly 2.5 times the price of the 6950 XT, I guess it's understandable that it will be faster in majority of the games, even in Call of Duty, unless it's CPU bottlenecked. What this does show is that a 6950 XT is insanely good value, and if you want to pick one up now, you can get it brand new for $650 or less on Amazon.com, and you would enjoy a hell of a performance within Call of Duty. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure to consider liking and subscribing, as that would help me out greatly. If I sold you on a 6950 XT, let me know in the comments section. And if you're a 4090 owner like me who is feeling the pain of a $650 GPU keeping up with your $1,800 GPU in Warzone, don't worry, you're not alone. I wish you all a good day and see you next time.